Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. I am bigz. He is Grindberg. Forecast calls for gold. I found gold. We're talking quarterback gold. Producer! Welcome to the show. It's the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and bigz. I am bigz. He is Grindberg. Today we're talking about quarterback gold mines. This is ADP values, ADP Gold Mines at the quarterback position. I'm trying to make the intro a lot quicker because that's some feedback that we got. So I'm just trying to talk fast. My number 3 is Jordan Love. He is the quarterback 8 currently at ADP, and overall he's ADP 57. He had a quarterback 5 finish last year, and he's being drafted 3 spots below that. I can see Anthony Richardson coming in. I can see, somebody else making a jump like a healthy Joe Burrow. But other than that, Jordan Love is right there, and he's being drafted too low. Number 2 is Matthew Stafford. He's the overall 116 in ADP. He's the quarterback 20. Last year, he finished as quarterback 15. If you want to take a chance on him having a resurgent year, go for it. Grab him as your first quarterback or a great backup later on in the draft. And my number 1, I will get to after Mike's done with a couple.
A couple things that we need to discuss is that hat of yours, bigz. I love it. It's the Fantasy Forecast on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Guys and girls, find our swag, find our merch on the merch shop. Bigz looking good in his merch. Love it, buddy.
There are 2 colorways of this hat. I got the yellow bill.
And hopefully at this time next week, the blue bill will be in my mailbox, and it takes a bit longer to get up here in Canada, though. So it'll be here eventually.
I hope.
Yeah, me too. It's gotta. We gotta look. We have to have a simulcast.
You know, the listeners, the watchers, they don't want this banter, Mike. They just want you to get to your stuff.
Okay,
make it quicker. Let's go.
All right, I'm going to talk about my number 3, and that's Will Levis. He emerged as a promising ADP gold mine in 2024 after an explosive debut marked by 4 touchdowns against the Falcons. I know it was the Falcons, but he has shown a little bit of potential. However, he's got improved protection, good coaching under Brian Callahan, known for his role developing in Joe Burrow. Levis has the opportunity to shine. His QB 20 ranking indicates significant upside, especially if the Titans' investment in offensive upgrades like Ridley and suggest a better output with a focus on coaching staff and enhanced supporting cast. He is poised to exceed expectations. And then my number 2 is Joe Burrow. He is a standout choice in 2024. Despite facing injuries last year, he demonstrated elite potential by delivering impressive yardage and touchdowns. His consistency as fantasy production in previous season showcases his ability to achieve top-tier status. Remember, he was injured last year, so Burrow offers a reliability and strong chemistry with his receivers, making him a safe draft option. Burrow's talent, track record, and potential is ready for resurgence in 2024, making him a top ADP gold mine. Don't miss out on drafting him. Elevate your fantasy team to victory. Bigz, who is your number 1 target?
Well, I'm getting Schultzy in my ear, and he's saying that we're now way too fast on time. So I'm gonna talk real slowly. My number 1 quarterback gold mine. Sorry. My number 1 quarterback gold mine, the spotlight, which I am choosing to shine the light, shine the ever-loving light on San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. He is currently being drafted as the quarterback 11 overall. He's ADP 82. That puts him right in the middle of the 7th round. That's a little bit early for me. I don't like taking quarterbacks that early. However, he finished as quarterback 6 in 2023. Now, when you're talking about entering a draft and getting a top 6 quarterback after 7 picks that you've already made, you're in really, really good shape. Brock Purdy is that guy. And the number one thing that makes Brock Purdy that guy, I don't know if you know this, Mike, but you and I are on another show where we talk about dynasty fantasy football. And last week we had a special guest. You may or may not remember. His name is Ryan Heath, and he writes for Fantasy Points. And he has an article where he's talking about fantasy points per drop back for quarterbacks. I'm going to give you a little trivia question. Mm-hmm. All right. You get one shot at this. Otherwise, you don't go home with $1 million. Who was number 2 in fantasy points per drop back among quarterbacks last year?
Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy, exactly. You're still not going to go home with $1 million because that wasn't a prize. But if you had gotten it wrong, you absolutely weren't going to go home with $1 million. Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy was number 2 in the NFL among quarterbacks in fantasy points per drop back. That is an important stat because it is highly correlated. It carries over season to season. This is a sticky stat that doesn't change, unlike, say, total touchdowns scored for a running back or a wide receiver or something. This one sticks to the player like the number on the back of their jersey. Brock Purdy is number 1 on my list of quarterback gold mines.
I love it. Purdy had a great season last year, and he's just getting criminally undervalued. And I think that bigz hit the nail on the head. And I'm going to give you another gold mine that people aren't ready to hear about. I know Schultzy's ready to hear about it, and bigz is going to bring him on stage after I go over my spiel here. But you got to get ready to dominate your fantasy league, and I'm telling you with whom, and that's Trevor Lawrence. He just isn't another quarterback option. He is a game changer that your team needs. Despite facing challenges, Lawrence's journey is headed straight for greatness. Just look at his Duval. Look at his performance later in the half of last year's season. He exploded for an average of 270 passing yards, 2 touchdowns per game, and now with top receiver Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis joining the mix, Lawrence is set for an epic breakout. Don't let the past setbacks fool you. Lawrence is a rising star and undeniable potential compared to elite quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes. Lawrence is right on their heels, averaging just 1.1 fewer fantasy points last season. With a revamped Jaguars offense boasting explosive talent like Gabe Davis and dependable pass protection from lineman Mitch Morse, now picture his now stacked receiving core of Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis, the burners on the outside, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, the target hogs on the inside, and Travis Etienne and Tank frickin' Bigsby. Defenses won't stand a chance. So if you're serious about securing a late round quarterback with sky-high potential, Trevor Lawrence is your answer. Get ready to lead your fantasy team to glory with Trevor Lawrence at the helm.
What do you think about that, Schultzy?
Hey, I love Trevor Lawrence, man. I love Trevor Lawrence like Ron Burgundy loves lamp. Okay, and let me go back to
Brick loves lamp. Ron Burgundy loves Scotch. Sorry to correct you.
I messed. Yeah, you know what? I really dropped the ball on the Anchorman reference. I apologize. It's the pattern of the pleats. Okay. So 2022, Trevor was the QB 8, right? He had 8 top 10 quarterback finishes. So like, you go back to that year when he wasn't hurt, like you mentioned, and it's just incredible. So then last year when he got hurt, the numbers did get better because they were forced to pass in the same way because the defense just collapsed. So they were negative game scripts. Trevor's just throwing the ball a bunch. Regardless, if you look pre-injury, he was lights out. Some of his efficiency stuff wasn't quite as good later in the season, but the volume was. So he was fantastic pre-injury, obviously. And then, so I just don't see, and then like you mentioned, the weapons coming in, Ingram and Kirk are going to eat underneath with that speed on the outside. I don't understand why Trevor is being drafted so late because, like I said, QB8 when he was in 22, when he was playing the whole time without injury. And that was with the worst cast of dudes. Like, he still has Ingram and Kirk, like we mentioned earlier. You talked about Gabe Davis and Brian Thomas. Those two dudes, significant speed upgrade over Zay Jones and Ridley of last year. So this is a huge advantage to capitalize on recency bias. Because he's on the Jaguars is a huge reason why people are going to sleep on him, because people just don't like the Jags. It's just a thing. And the Jags have been terrible and given fans no reason to trust them. And I get that. So let's take advantage of that. The recency bias, people are down on Trevor, and you shouldn't be. So yeah, jump all over it.
Jump all over it. You heard it from our producer, Schultzy. Welcome back. Man, always good to get your intake in these shows, so appreciate your offer, buddy. Thanks.
Get out of here.
Yeah, bigz. That is the ADP Gold Mines for 2024 at the quarterback position.
Hey, you know what? We're coming back with wide receivers in our next episode. Go ahead and like, share, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when our wide receiver Gold Mines episode drops. And go follow us on Twitter. I'm at BigBonedFFB. He's at FFConnect99. But you already know that because you're a loyal watcher and you've seen all of our episodes.
Yeah, and we want to thank all our viewers that we're starting to gain a lot of momentum, and we appreciate all the viewers for tuning in. I think one of our videos is almost at 2,000 views, so let's go. Let's keep that momentum going, folks, and we appreciate everybody from tuning in. Bigz, what do you say?
We hope you win.
We hope you win.